Hello and welcome to the inaugural podcast from Homebuyer Show Scotland. This is the first in a series which aim to support the property industry. So whether you're a developer, estate agent, home buyer or even homeowner, we encourage you to tune in for some very useful advice. Over the coming weeks, we'll be speaking to a host of industry specialists covering a huge range of subjects from financial advice and customer engagement to some of the housing challenges facing the elderly. Today, we're delighted to be joined by Jaimie Robertson from Mortgage Advice Bureau's network partner in Scotland. As the organisation's head of training and manager of their Edinburgh-based advisor, Jaimie brings a huge wealth of knowledge to the industry. So firstly, welcome, Jaimie.
Good afternoon. Good to be here.
Great to have you. So I just want to start with an interesting one. Depending on what you have read recently, it seems from the outside, certainly, to have been a rocky couple of weeks for the mortgage world. So let's start with that. I read that some reports suggesting that between 7 and 10% of mortgage deals have been pulled recently, which echoes a crisis that followed Liz Truss's mini-budget a few months ago. Would you say that's accurate? And how do you think that will affect homeowners and prospective buyers?
Yeah, absolutely. So look, to an extent, depending on which podcast you listen to, which presenter you watch, which article you read, Dylan, you would think that Trussonomics and the nightmare that ensued after that was rearing its head again. I would strongly suggest that as brokers in the industry, and you'd expect this from me, that we have a calm and rational approach to what's actually going on in the market at the moment. There's whichever, if you open up the press or you look at online, concerns about hundreds of lenders pulling interest rates due to uncertainty in the market, problems in the buy-to-let market, less scope to save for deposits. But in actual fact, I would argue that although inflation's kind of not maybe come down as quickly as we thought, there are some positive signs in the market. If we look at like SONIA swaps, so that's like the sterling overnight index average. I did a little bit of research beforehand. From May to June, that has gone down. That's linked to lenders or that to the base rate positively. So I actually do think that we're coming through the worst of it, to be honest. If you want my honest view, if you're a first-time buyer or even if you're remortgaging, there's no better time for clients like to approach us directly or and benefit from advice. I think very much gone are the days where you get rates between sort of 0 and 0.1 and kind of 2%, and it's do clients need advice? Is it just an execution only market that we're working in? Well, the space for me is for advice is or the importance of getting advice now is definitely like front and center for me.
Yeah, that's true. I echo that completely, Jaimie. There's, we work with mortgage clients. We've got some clients that are builders and developers. And one of the points we were making last week is in actual fact, there's still thousands of mortgage products out there. To me, that's a really positive story that we should be concentrating on. The rhetoric around mortgages being removed is quite overwhelming. So, let's try and turn the rhetoric on its head and concentrate a bit more on the positives.
Yeah, look, totally agree. And listen, there's no getting away from it, Dylan. We are in what you might say, I use this word, dare I say that with the greatest of reservations, but there is volatility in the market. There's no sort of two ways about it. There's a definite concern around interest rate rises, lenders reassessing their options, but they've always done that. So it's incumbent on us as advisors to make sure we've particularly as we consider the impact of consumer duty, making sure that clients know kind of what they're entering into from the outset, basically. And look, it comes back to a point that I'll say probably with every question that you ask, it's so important that we sit down and go through things together. The need for that holistic approach to mortgage and protection advice has never been greater. For me, making sure you and your family are in a position not to have to worry about what's going to happen to your payments is absolutely vital.
That point you're making about advice is a critical one here for me. The industry is forever changing. It wasn't just a few weeks ago where Skipton launched a 100% deal, which means buyers don't need a deposit to buy. And that news was met with this huge buzz.
Yeah, absolutely. So interestingly, I've got some sort of hot off the press information on there. So it's great to see the innovation in the market, right? For sure. And thanks to Skipton for doing that. To Nationwide, they've got some really good further advanced deals for existing clients, and that's great. The Skipton one is interestingly, I think they've only had 6 mortgages agreed at the 100%, and the key issue there is that it's linked to the rent that you're currently paying needs to be in line with the mortgage. So if you're buying if you want to buy in an area like Dundee, for example, or potentially outside of Edinburgh, then the Skipton option is great, particularly if you've not got the means for a deposit. So it's definitely it's good to see the innovation in the market. Long may that continue. Where there is a concern is, for me, is I talked about volatility earlier, is, as brokers, and I speak to my guys about this all the time, I speak to clients, still fairly regularly as well. We could do with even more support, right, from lenders. And when it comes to things like rate withdrawals, you touched on some of the lenders that are withdrawing their deals. I'll give you an example. On Friday, there was a particular lender who withdrew a rate gave us notice, a 2-hour notice that they're withdrawing a rate at 2, it was 12 o'clock, right? We're withdrawing this set of rates at 2 p.m. How is that going to help for, when you're trying to provide the best possible advice for your clients? We digress a little bit, but listen, thanks to Skipton and other lenders for the support that they're trying to give. We need more of it.
Absolutely. And the other thing critical to customers there and choice is the changes in consumer duty, which you mentioned. Yes, they are due to be implemented this summer. Not that long away. And what benefits will that bring to the consumer? And what changes are you making here at Mortgage Advice Bureau in Scotland?
Yeah, so we know it's coming 31st July. I think it's on a poster somewhere that I've seen, and certainly on. From our side at Mortgage Advice Bureau, there's lots of things that we're doing in the background to support the implementation of it. For me, something I'm really, really passionate about is, at its very core, right, consumer duty is about moving from fair to good outcomes for clients. And, it's about making sure that's properly been embedded in our culture, making sure our pre and post-sale nurture journeys are absolutely first class. That we've got, I think there's lots of positive intervention, certainly from MAB coming there. We've got our platform system, we've got, the MAB app that allows us to engage with clients and then nurture them right through their journey. Look, really important that we absolutely embrace it, and I think that's, is absolutely fundamental. I was listening to a Barclays, interview the other day, and they were talking about the vulnerability of clients, and that comes under consumer duty, under the sort of consumer support section. It can be tricky to know who a vulnerable client is. Does a client want to tell you that they're vulnerable? At the end of the day, CD or consumer duty, as I said right at the start, there is making sure that as intermediaries we've got our clients' best interests at heart, and we've got lots of processes and plumbing that's been done for the imminent arrival of consumer duty. I don't really think that things will change dramatically in terms of the way that we provided our advice, other than just making sure that we're doing first and foremost, we're always doing the right things for our clients.
Yeah, and that comes across from everyone I speak to at MAB, actually. So you guys really need to take some credit for that. Linked to that was a piece I meant to run it by you last week. The mortgage lender revealed that 1 in 4 adults are unclear what it means to get mortgage ready, which is quite a considerable figure. Is this a term that you come across often, and can you let listeners know what it means and what people need to do to get mortgage ready?
Well, I mean, mortgage ready, it sounds like the sort of term that I would coin. Look, mortgage ready for me is, right, if you're a first-time buyer, and you're currently renting, and your rent is in excess of as maybe jumped up or whatever, it becomes more and more difficult to start building a deposit. I think from the outset we need to be encouraging people from a really, really young age about the importance of building deposits, and looking into what incentives are available. If you're buying a new build, potentially getting support from the builder. Most lenders, certainly the most, of our sort of top 10 to 15 lenders, will allow you to do they'll allow gifted equity, concessionary purchases, purchasing for, at a discount, etc. So there's lots and lots of things that clients can do. Look, I think understanding as well, for deposit, understanding your budget. What is your budget? Is there any flexibility in your budget? There was a really interesting piece today that I heard about. The first-time buyers are now more than ever we're recommending longer term mortgages overall, so 35-year mortgages. And I thought about that a lot when I was on the commute this morning. And I've done that before, and I will continue to do it. If recommending a 35-year overall term is the right thing to do for a client, and that's going to, from a budget point of view, allow them to get into the house, enjoy living there. That doesn't mean that they're then having a mortgage for 35 years. It means that at the end of their fixed rate or the end of their discount variable rate or tracker rate period, we can then sit down and reassess things. Look, it gets them into the property in the short term. So look, number two, so obviously number one is building the deposit. Number two is considering your budget, and probably number three is where do you want to buy your house? Do you want an extra couple of bedrooms? So if that's the case, then probably buying in Edinburgh is going to be tough, and unless you're on you've got good sort of combined income, or that'd be tricky. Remember as well, lenders allow you to, going into quite a lot of detail here, lenders allow you to do joint borrower or sole proprietor. Scottish Building Society allow guarantor mortgages, so again, the family support is an option not to be discounted as well. And making sure you've got, obviously number one should have been have you got a decent broker and a good relationship? That obviously goes without saying. And then probably the other point is, solicitor. Make sure that you've got a good solicitor in place. Don't just go with, cheapest is not always best. The value of paying a fee and for professional mortgage advice as well, but the value in paying a fee is absolutely paramount. You want to make sure that you get the best possible advice for your needs. So those would be my sort of things for clients to kind of get mortgage ready. Pretty straightforward stuff, but look, it's things that maybe people don't consider.
Well, it's 1 in 4 people are unclear what it means. True. So that's very useful, Jaimie, and I appreciate that. Yeah. Shameless plug time. You mentioned there around location. Next week's podcast, we have guests from Grey Pocket and Building Relations. Interestingly, they are going to talk about the importance of driving location over brand, and the importance of customer communications and customer nurtures in that process. So yeah, tune in for that one, guys. If certainly if you like the sound of this one, which I'm sure you do, because Jaimie knows exactly what he's talking about, don't you, Jaimie?
Well, I do, yeah. hope that's come across.
Just go on to the next one.
Sure.
You're talking there about someone taking a 35-year product and the option to review after 2 or 5 years.
Yeah.
So when that remortgaging opportunity comes around, I'd like to talk a little bit about that. Figures from the ONS this year have suggested that 1.4 million households will finish a fixed-term mortgage. So to give you an idea, I think it's roughly 57% of UK mortgages. Those same stats, obviously with the caveat that they are the ONS stats, state that the average monthly payments on a 100 grand loan could rise from £424 to £644. Quite a considerable rise. What advice would you give to people who have a mortgage ending this year?
So, really, really pertinent question. 100%. First and foremost, comes back to what I've talked about 15, 20 minutes ago, right? You need to engage the services of a broker who will support and understand what your financial needs are, both short, medium, and long term. I can't overstate the importance of doing that enough. Don't just go onto your website, your lender website, and pick a product. Okay, that'd be the first thing. The second thing I'd say is remember that when you remortgage, most lenders will allow you to do so 6 months beforehand, up to 6 months before your new deal is, or before you come off your existing fixed rate. I would strongly recommend that that you look to do that you approach as early as you possibly can. Often you'll find that certainly within our business, we will have proactively contacted our clients as well, often 7-8 months beforehand, just to make sure that they're ready for that contact on the 6 month point. Because lenders are flexible enough to allow you to book a deal if it were a little bit corporate there, but or book a rate if you like. And if that rate then goes down, then we will, generally speaking, if you've got a broker worth their salts, they will then proactively contact you just before your new deal is due to kick in and get you onto that better rate. But that, look, it's not rocket science. Get advice, get yourself in there as early as you can. And listen, I think we all need to now be prepared to accept the fact that gone are the days of rates at 0.99%. You know, I remember a couple of years ago, there was lenders offering 0.99 for 5 years. You know, and the payment shock those clients are going to feel pretty soon is not. But we were in unprecedented times. You know, for 10 years, 10, 12 years of my career, we've been in an unprecedented low rate environment. And it's important that, you know, we educate our clients so that they understand that, and that they're prepared properly. And the best way to do that is get yourself in nice and early so that you can start preparing yourself financially, get a good deal, start thinking about, right, what impact's that then going to have on my monthly budget.
Amazing.
And monthly budget's the essence of everything, isn't it?
Yeah.
What have you got coming in? Can you afford your season ticket? You know?
Well, it depends where that season ticket is for, Jaimie. Let's take that conversation offline. The listeners do not want to hear about that. Excuse me. So you're talking about remortgaging there, Jaimie, and this year during the Homebuyer show, remortgaging will be a key part of the show's offering. MAB were kind enough to support the show during its initial stages back in 2019, before COVID's enforced break. So, and what, in your eyes, what makes shows like this useful for developers and builders, industry stakeholders, and ultimately home buyers?
So look, the Homebuyer Show Scotland, Dylan, first and foremost, I'm still looking out for my invite. So listen, this will be a one-stop shop.
Lucky it's a free event, Jaimie.
Well, absolutely, yeah, that's fine. Good stuff. One-stop shop. I won't tire of saying how important it is to, or how great it is to have our builders, BDMs, solicitors, advisors, and clients kind of under one roof. The opportunity for you to engage with them is fantastic, and it's something I would encourage, whether you're a first-time buyer, a second-time buyer, looking at dipping your toe in the buy-to-let market, or simply remortgaging. It's a great opportunity to come and speak with industry-leading partners.
Brilliant. I mean, yeah, we look forward to welcoming you in a few months' time. Well, that's us. Thank you again very much. Do you have anything else you want to add, or anything we've missed?
No, I don't think so. I think the underlying point for me, Dylan, and hopefully this has kind of come across, first and foremost, right, the importance of seeking advice can be don't discount that. If you're a client and you're not sure, don't just rely on what your parents tell you and what the podcasts tell you. Come and get advice, you know, from a professional in the mortgage industry, whether they've got 3, 4, 5 years experience, or they've got longer than that you're paying for their experience in the vast majority of cases. And it's a tough environment out there just now, and being able to navigate that on your own with everything else you've got going on in your life is it's tricky, and we are here to, you know, support, and at the end of the day, that's ultimately what we're all about, is getting people into their houses or being able to enjoy living in the house that they currently live in.
Yeah. And guys, to be fair, I totally echo that. Jaimie actually did my own mortgage recently, and it was a great deal for my personal circumstances, so that was really appreciated, Jaimie. What I'll do, if anyone is interested in what MAB have got to offer, or wants to take up Jaimie's offer of a conversation, we'll put the information in the show notes, and you can reach out to him in your own time. Meanwhile, just big thank you for listening, and tune in for next week when we'll have the team from Building Relations and Grey Pocket on to talk about communications, brand and design. Thank you, Jaimie.
No worries at all. Thank you.